talking about business plan writing today. Like I said, you do have an assignment where you'll be writing the thank you note to career services. So make sure that I say write it down right away, or check, take some notes so you'll remember one or two things that happened in your mock interview so that you can mention it when you write your thank you letter to them. Now, oops, that's wrong. Ignore that. So when it comes to business writing, has anyone ever had to write letters? Any work that you've done? I can remember back when I first learned how to write letters. Okay, Erica's done some. It was an ordeal. I remember I was in the military when I learned how to write business letters. And, oddly enough, we still do it very similar to what we've done it in the past. The only thing that changed was that 12 font and Times New Roman, 1-inch margins, that was the standard. Whether you were in school, you were in business, and nowadays it's not. Like, you can do Times New Roman, you can do Calibri, you can do Arial, right? Which may not seem like a big deal to some people, but it is a deal. Like, it is a deal. I remember I worked for one CEO, and she was so adamant that we could only use Calibri. Like, she was a very extra person. And we could only use Calibri, 11 font. She didn't want to see anything else. Like, we even had to redo our entire marketing and website and everything that we use as promotions to mirror her vision. Oh yeah, she was a very unique person. And that's what she wanted, and even back in those days, that was back in like 2014, using Calibri was like not even standard, but I guess in her mind it was like, oh, it's fresher, it's sharper. So that stands out to me because she was so adamant about it. But nowadays people use it. Like, many of you probably don't even think about it. But if you think about it, what do you see mostly? You see Calibri, you see Arial, or you see Times New Roman, and that is because that is the business standard. You're not going to see a lot of cursive font, thin writing, any of that stuff, is not common, and even shunned upon, believe it or not, in business environments. So it's so important that you do know those basics. Another thing too, 12 font, 12 point font was like the standard. Now 11 is. Again, that may not seem like a big thing to you, but it's very common, and you'll see it in business writing all throughout. Now, why do I keep doing that? Okay, sorry about that. Writing letters, there's certain parts to a letter, and once you get used to writing a business letter in your career, you will be writing a letter, whether it's you're promoting your own business, so you're going to have to write letters. You're sending out communication to customers, you're going to have to write letters. Like, you will be writing letters. As if you are in management and above, you are going, you're going to be pushing more paperwork than you're going to be doing your work. Y'all know how it goes. So you will be doing some form of writing. Most business writing comes very standard. You have some type of heading. If you've ever gotten a piece of mail, you know that, right? Then most people don't know the heading is of the person that's sending it to you, followed by a date, followed by your address, which is one thing that a lot of people miss for some reason, the address that it's going to. I know I used to miss that a lot when I wrote, business letters, like to put the address of the person within the letter, right? Having some type of greeting, hello, good evening, how are you, whatever. And then the introduction, the body, and the closing. Now, I am going to teach you writing 101 in like 3 minutes flat. I do not care what type of writing that you do, all writing, All writing has an introduction, a body, and a closing. Now, take it from me. I used to teach language arts in primary education. I am telling you the basics. All writing has an introduction, a body, and a closing. I do not care if you're writing 50 pages or one. All writing has an introduction, a body, and a closing. Let me make it even more simple. Every time you change a topic, you have an introduction, body, closing. Go to the next topic, introduction, body, closing, right? So if I'm talking about the best food for pets, that is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to start out my introduction on the best food for pets and what makes the best food for pets. Maybe I name 5 things. Each of those 5 things I'm going to have a separate section for. And each of those 5 things is going to have an introduction to that thing. I'm going to talk about that thing. I'm going to close it out. Then I'm going to introduce the next thing, talk about that thing and close it out. And once I get down to the last thing, I'm then going to close out the entire paper with what? A closing. So what has happened? My entire paper had an introduction. The body are the 5 things I talked about, and they each had their own introduction, body, and closing. And then I close out the entire paper with a closing. That is writing 101. Even when I wrote at a doctoral level, that's how you write. Is that not simple enough? So whether you're writing a cover letter or a doctoral dissertation, which hopefully nobody has to suffer through, that's it. Body, introduction, closing, and everything that you do each time you change a topic, body, introduction, closing. That's it. And the body is always the detail. The introduction is always the introduction of something. Thanks, Erica. Erica approves. I always try to make everything as simple as possible because I don't know, I feel everything is simple. But I have to be careful because in my first year of teaching, one of my students kind of checked me on that. I was teaching a financial analysis course and I was up on the board and I was just scribbling my way through. And I was like, and I kept saying, that's easy, right? That's easy, right? And I turned around and one of the students was like, it's easy for you, Miss Taylor. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So I have to be careful not to say that anymore. That stuck with me. It's almost been since 2006, or however long that's been. I'm like, okay, let me not say that anymore because in my mind it's easy, but maybe not for everyone. But was that not easy? Let me ask you guys, because now I feel bad. Does that make sense in terms of how you write? No matter whether you're writing 1 page or 50 pages. It makes sense, right? Give me a quick thumbs up. Make me feel good. Thanks, Josiah. Thank you. I always like to demystify. Thanks, guys. I like to demystify stuff because I think everything is easy and everybody should do it. I think anybody can do anything if they just know how to do it, right? I hate it when people make things so difficult, as if they have some type of magical powers. Like, just show people how to do it. They can do it. All right. So parts of a letter, very simple. Who's writing at the top? What date you're writing from and who you're writing to is at the bottom. Really, really simple. Now, and again, you want to greet the person. So, sometimes why is it important to greet people? Because a person needs to make sure, okay, is this for me? Is this for Sam? Is this for Sarah? So it's always good to have a greeting so they'll know, okay, this is for me. And then again, your first paragraph, talk about why you're writing. The second paragraph gets to the details of, what it is you're writing about, and then close it out. The closing paragraph, when you are writing in business, we always call it a call to action. If you remember when we did your elevator pitches, I always said close it out with a call to action. That lets someone know, okay, what's the next step? If you're writing me and you're telling me something, at the end of the day, you're writing me for a reason. So always have a call to action. If it's nothing more than thank you for your time, or maybe you want me to follow up with you. I look forward to you following up with me. Like, always have something at the bottom of that paragraph to let the person know what are the next steps. If there are no next steps outside of you just wanting to thank the person or remind them of something, then that's what you put, because it clarifies the communication. right? So always in your last paragraph, no matter what you're writing, clearly if you're writing a cover letter for your resume, what are you going to do? Well, your cover letter for your resume, you're going to say why you're writing. With your writing, maybe you're applying for a job. You're going to talk about why you're qualified. That's that body, right? I'm qualified for this job for these various reasons, and you're going to lay it out. And then that final paragraph, it's always going to be, once you review my resume and you agree with what I'm saying, I look forward to hearing from you. That's the call to action. That puts the ball in their court. So whoever you're communicating with, they need to know, okay, is the ball in my court now, or are you just saying hi, right? So they need to know. So that's how you always want to have your communication laid out. I use the example of a cover letter, but it could be any type of letter, right? Here is an example of a hard copy thank you message here, Mr. Mr. and Mrs. However you want to say Cortez, wrote to Mr. Joshua, thanking him for an opportunity for the interview, right? Thank you for the opportunity to interview for the position of hotel concierge with Great Corporation on Wednesday. The interview process provided me with a clear synopsis of the role and responsibilities. She went on to talk about how her enthusiasm for the position has grown after talking with you. See how she mentioned something. And members of your team, my desire is to work with the hotel business and serve customers in my passion, right? Now, close it out. Thank you again for your time. As I requested, I am closing a copy of my references. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Letting Mr. Joshua know the ball is in your court. Sometimes you can even put that you are going to follow up. Maybe Mr. Mitchell was like, hey, follow up with me in a week. Put that in there. I will follow up as discussed. I will follow up with you in a week. Regarding this position. You can always do that, right? And then make sure you follow up within a week, because now the ball is in your court. And Mr. Mitchell may say, okay, well, you didn't reach out to me, so I went with the other candidate. Like, you never know. So whoever's holding the ball, that is the person that is required to follow up. Uh-oh. Amanda is saying she can't hear again. Amanda. Yeah, I just looked over at my phone. Oh, 1 second, guys. I have to tell Amanda. Hold on. We're in class and they all can hear me. You may have to shut your computer down and do it again. I'm sorry. Amanda may needs to clear out some of her internet. Does everybody know how to clear your cache on your internet? Yeah, sometimes like if you right, okay, okay, I see a few people do. Sometimes that is the issue, because what happens is, I don't want to get too technical, but when your computer logs into a server, like when you go onto, and I'm just telling you because Amanda's not the only person that has this issue. A lot of people tend to have it. When you log into southerntech.edu, for the first time, your computer has to basically go all the way to the server that hosts our platform. But what happens is, because computers are designed to be efficient, once it goes the first time, it creates a shortcut, right? So it doesn't have to take as long, so it can go there quicker. It's almost like a little memory thing. That's called a cache. It caches it. So when you go on to it the second time, it gets there quicker because it just uses a shortcut. The problem with that is, if there's some type of break in that shortcut link and you try to log in, it'll take you back to that shortcut link, right? That era or that link. And if there's any issues with the connection, it's not a true issue, because obviously if it was, we all would have the issue. Does that make sense? So if there was some error at the host site that you were going to, then everybody would have the issue. So if you're only having the issue, that means that there is some type of disconnect between your computer server and the server you're trying to reach. And 9 times out of 10 is because of that shortcut. And so the best way to do that is to go into your history and clear that out, clear it out completely, and then start over. That way it has to take the long route. And normally when you take the long route again, I mean, it's going to create another shortcut, but it clears that break. Does that make sense? That's why they tell you to clear your cookies. So your computer has to go the long route again. Amanda, can you hear us? She probably didn't do that. She probably just got on and come back in because it is. So if she can't hear us, it's probably what's happening. But just so everybody else can know, can you hear? Uh-oh. I didn't spell that right. All right. So at any rate, that is what the message is about. Okay, she's still saying she can't hear. All right, now what you are going to do though is you are going to create a thank you email. So we want you to thank Career Services for, meeting with you. And now, like I said, some career services are doing like, a true mock interview. Some of them are just doing a, hey, let's get to know each other, whatever the case may be. You want to send them a thank you note. So you don't have to send it via letter. It's internal. We're all at the same company. So you're going to send an email. The only difference between an email and a letter is what? The email address kind of serves as the recipient's address. So you don't have to put their address in the email. You just have to start with the greeting, Mr. Mitchell, do your introduction, body, and closing, and then you put your information at the bottom, right? So you don't put your information at the top, you put it at the bottom. This is how all communication is via email, but the body of the email is the same. Introduction, body, closing, call to action, everything else stays the same. So that's the only difference with an email. Now, what we want you to do, right? What we want you to do with your email, because you are going to send an email to the person that interviewed you, and then you are going to make a hard copy. You can like do a screenshot, you can download it. Hopefully everybody knows how to do a screenshot. You use a snipping tool, or you can ask someone if you're not familiar with how to do that. And you're going to copy and paste that. Some people paste it on the Word document and then they upload it. Some people just, I don't know if it'll let you, keep it as an image, and you can just upload it as an image in your assignment. Does everyone feel comfortable doing that, understanding what I'm referring to? If not, I would say definitely, reach out to your campuses, or if you need me to show you, I can. But that's what you're going to do. Like, I know a few people always have technical concerns with that, but that is how you are going to do your thank you letter today. All right. Or is it today? I'm not sure if it's today when you do it. Right now, are there other types of letters you will write? Obviously, you could be writing a supplier letter. You could be writing complaints. You could be writing a letter to an employee, letting them know they're no longer employed. I mean, you could be writing a lot of different things, right? So it doesn't really matter what you're writing. All the writing follows the same format. You could even be writing an offer acceptance, right? Woohoo, we want that for sure, right? And the example, it talks about, how you write it, to a company. And here, this one gives, the example of saying that you're excited about the position and that you can't wait to receive your formal offer letter. So what's happened here, the person got verbally offered the job. And so she's just writing back saying that, hey, I look forward to, receiving the official letter. Normally, you don't have to do this. What you would normally do is what we're asking you to do with career services is just sending a letter thanking them for their time. And then the next correspondence is going to be from HR or someone saying either, hey, we want you to have another interview, or we want to move forward and give you an offer letter, and then you'll be responding to the offer, right? So that's cool because that is how that sequence goes. All right. Now, can you also decline an offer? Yes. Hopefully, most of us will not have to do that, but it happens. I've had to do it. Sometimes you have to decline an offer, and you want to do that in a proper way because, you're going into an industry now, and industries are small, and you could bump into people. And so you want to, remain professional, and it's good to always, reply, and let someone know that you're not going to move forward. Maybe you've accepted a different position, or maybe sometimes you have to withdraw your application. I've had to do that, because when you're in the job market, you are applying to a lot of different companies. And if you find someone you like, you want to let the others know. That's a courtesy. What I like about that too is this. Sometimes I've even seen people take a job and maybe it wasn't the one that they wanted, or maybe they thought it was the one that they wanted. And within a couple of weeks, they realized this is not for me. And they've actually gone to a different company that they interviewed with, right? So, you never know, right? So don't blow off, other people just because, someone, can't got you first. You never know. Or you could be working with this company for a year or two, and then that other company you applied to has a new position. This company doesn't offer promotions, but that company does. Like if you blew them off, if you weren't responsive, or whatever, they got a bad taste in their mouths, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, right? They say don't burn your bridges, in that instance, I would definitely say don't burn your bridges, and keep that communication open. Sounds good? All right. Here's what I want to know today. What is your biggest hurdle or obstacle that you feel will keep you from achieving what you want in your career? What is your biggest hurdle or obstacle? And how will you overcome it? How will you overcome it? It's always good to know. Let me tell you, I know what mine is, and I'm still trying to overcome it. But, everybody has obstacles. Everyone has hurdles, so just what is yours and how are you going to overcome it? That is your question for today. Amanda, were you still not able to hear us? All right. Well, I still have Amanda, guys. Let's see. Jamari, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hold tight. I wanted to check in with you real quick, okay?
Okay.
All right, everybody else, and no, he's not in trouble for y'all being nosy. Kidding. All right. You guys can take off. Thank you so much for your time. Please remember, we do not have class tomorrow, so I will see you guys back here on Monday. All right.